What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with reactions to the classics. And today we got another reaction to David Devant and His Spirit Wife. This time the album Power Words for Better Living. Sounds like an infomercial, doesn't it? Brought to us by friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Iain. Thank you, Iain. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or Patron link on the end screen. We could not do it without them. So we do have two full album reactions up of David Devant and His Spirit Wife. I did Shiny and the Inside Tray, did Work, Love Life, Miscellaneous. So looking forward to this one. Iain always brings the fire. Let's see what Iain has to say about this album. He said 2004 brings probably the worst David Devant and His Spirit Wife's worst album, which I got to tell you, I've never started an album reaction that way with a patron saying that. But the good news is it's still great. Can't believe it was released 20 years ago to the day that he wrote me this. Seems like a few months since I was heading to Camden and London with my Velcro Power Words merch t-shirt to watch them and see the vessel emerge onto stage by jumping through a black lit silhouetted paper hoop. Without a major label record deal, the album was released by Outstanding Records and a limited commercial success. The support tour was without the theatrical stage shows that were the band's trademark, and despite Foz Foster returning for this album, it never took off. There was still the creative force of Mikey Georgeson, The Vessel, and the resulting album has some gems, being surprisingly consistent. Lacking the concept feel of the previous two albums, I've still given it hundreds of listens over the years. All right, if you haven't been with us before, music will not be in the video, but there'll be a Vimeo link below, so click on that and follow along with us. Let's kick it off with the opening track, About It. Iain says, energetic opening track with a killer chorus. The Mikey paints such vivid scenes that expose the absurdity of life. Iain gives it an 8 out of 10. He grades every one of these. Look, I could find absolutely nothing on this album. Like nothing. It's like it was wiped from the internet. There are no lyrics for this album. I can just listen along like normal folks do, though. I'll be all right. So I won't have the lyrics up as always because there are none. I wish you can find them out there. I'm sure somebody out there as diligent as you are can find them, but I could not, and I tried. So, all right, let's get after it. Thanks again, Iain. About It. That was a great song. That had a great soundscape to it. Really good guitar work. Sounded like some Beatles circa 1968. John Lennon on here, maybe 67, maybe even 66, maybe a little Revolver action. Just going at it there in that sound, man. So well done. So well done. What a way to start the album out. Next up, we have Contact. It's a slower song about aging. Uh-oh. And how it becomes harder to make connections as you grow older. The Vessel delivers the poetic verses, and the Outdo picks up the energy and references back to Work, Love Life, Miscellaneous of their first album. All right, Contact. Very catchy, even though it's slower pace, really kicked up the guitar at the end, but definitely relate somewhat to this song, and especially the first half of it and the stuff he's talking about in those verses, you know, that I just think as you get older, you definitely do get wiser, but you wish you could impart some of this wisdom on your younger self. But really, really good song. After the third track, Gentleman Jim, it says, seems to be one of the more popular songs from the Amazon Music Play stats. Not one of my favorites, but I don't like the only David Devant and His Spirit Wife hit, Ginger. So what do I know? It's a storytelling song. It's frantic and an epic ending. I can see why people love it. Sadly, I don't. Not sure why, but he still gives it a 7 out of 10. Here he comes again, Gentleman Jim, the son of an Irish woman, as we learned through this song. I think this song is pretty darn catchy. The only issue I have with it, and I don't think it's an issue with them, it's an issue probably with Spotify, because the audio sometimes on Spotify that I use is not great. Apple Music is way better. I don't know about Amazon Music, but the guitars are turned up too high, so you can't hear the Vessel quite as much. But I think it's a really catchy song. I do see why it's very popular. Next up, we have The Real World. Nice chorus. Interesting instrumentation. Not a bad song, Iain says. 7. All right, The Real World. Mom was a gypsy, dad was a deep sea diver. He's kind of living in their shadow. And then the story just unfolds about what the real world is as he gets out there. You know, we got a guy selling drugs out of his silver Audi. I like this song. I'll tell you what I don't like. What I hate. Hate's a strong word, but I hate the arrangement when he starts singing the chorus. The chorus is good, but that I could not stand that. Otherwise, the song is pretty darn good. We'll go to the fifth song, Social Comet. A simple song that fires like a comet straight into the chorus. One of my favorites on the album, 9 out of 10 for Iain. Social Comet, taking a little bit from Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People in there. I really like that song. Thought it was strong. There's some of that backing instrumentation I don't like again, but it's not going to knock this song out for me from possibly, I don't want to spoil it, being an honorable mention or favorite. A really good song. Next up, as we reach the halfway point of this album, we got Whatever Turns You On. Iain says, from the uptempo social comment, the slow down to the verse of Whatever Turns You On. It picks up in the catchy chorus. I love a slow, fast song with the drawn-out delivery of each verse building to the chorus, and then the outro really goes for it, leaving you energized. I also enjoy that technique. He uses a 7.5 out of 10. All right, Whatever Turns You On. That song is incredibly catchy. It won me over with that chorus. It's just fantastic. So that's definitely going to be in contention for my honorable mentions or faves, but that was one of the catchiest songs so far. Now we go to the 7th-track, Soul's Window. Iain says, then funky bass goes some way to rescuing this song. Not a bad song, but nothing special. Has a nice line, sorry if I let you see the sinking vessel. 6.5 out of 10. All right, Soul's Window. He's basically oversharing, trying to make conversation, giving this other person an insight into how he is and kind of how to control him. The bass work is good, as Iain said. I think the guitar work was really good. Some of the disjointed harmonies and stuff, I know what they were trying to do. It didn't really work for me. It's a fine song. It's my least favorite song so far, but I really like this album up to this point. Next up, we have Any Fool Can Fall in Love. Isn't that true? Stomping good rock and roll song, 7.5 out of 10 for Iain. All right, Any Fool Can Fall in Love. Still not crazy about that sound there at the end that's running through it. This song is crazy catchy. Like, really good song. Really good song. At the start of it, he sounded very much like Lou Reed to me. That's a good thing, but really, really good job by the Vessel and the rest of the boys. Got 3 songs left. Next up, we got Holiday on Ice. Iain says, I can't decide if this or Social Comment's my favorite track on the album. This is a more complex song and feels heartfelt. 8.5 out of 10. Holiday on Ice. Parts of the song sounded like 1967 Doors invaded David Devant and His Spirit Wife. Maybe the Vessel was getting invaded, but it sounded like Ray Manzarek came and was just hammering out that organ. It's a good song, but it's not going to be in my favorites. Well, it's not going to be my favorite. Let's put it that way. But we still got 2 songs left. Except we have You Saw Me Coming. The album really finishes strongly. This is a real spine tingler. Mikey's one of those songwriters that has a connection to the creative zone. He keeps rolling out song after song that leave you feeling surprised and emotional. He breathes rarefied air up there with the greatest songwriters. Now, that is really high praise. 8.5 out of 10. All right, You Saw Me Coming. I mean, it starts out with the line, You saw me coming, like a paycheck on the horizon. And that kind of sets the table here for this guy. I liked most of the arrangement. I didn't love all of it. I know it's a recurring theme for me. But I thought when they dialed it back and just had the guitar and him singing like on the chorus parts, that's the best his voice has sounded on this. And he sounds good on that. I thought that was just outstanding. But wait, boys and girls, that's not all. We have hidden track down below. Iain says, although it's not quite the end, we have a hidden track. We talked coming off the last song, which is a summer remix of About It. As we reprise the chorus, little echo of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, perhaps. Nice bookend, but not an essential listen. 6 out of 10. All right, just an FYI, if you're really paying attention and notice that the Spotify bar skipped to 30 seconds in, it's because there's silence there. So I just went ahead and edited that out. I'll tell you that ahead of time. I'm with Iain. Not a necessary song. It's a good song. It was fine. Not necessary, but, the vaunted hidden song was everywhere for a period of time. Now we'll get to my favorite tracks. Honorable mentions, Gentleman Jim, Social Comment, Whatever Turns You On. Faves are going to be About It, my favorite song on here, Contact, Any Fool Can Fall in Love, and You Saw Me Coming. Before I get to my overall score, I will get to Iain's final thoughts. He said, any album cover art which heavily features balloon animals gets my appreciation. Having listened to this a couple of times to write this review, I still think this is the worst of the 4 albums. There are no lows, but it lacks the inventiveness of Work, Love, Life, Miscellaneous, lacks the glorious Bowie inspiration of Shiny on the Inside, and the maturity long gestation period of Cut Out and Keep Me, the latest album. It also feels a bit more DIY, but it's still a wonderful thing that I'm glad exists. If it had been the last ever DD and HSW album, it would have been an okay send-off, but it's not, and it fits well in their catalog. Overall, I give it a 7.25 out of 10. So this is where it gets interesting. Obviously, Iain knows these guys like inside and out, as well as probably just about anyone. and I don't. So that brings an interesting perspective here, because there's two things. Obviously, his grade is way more credible than mine's going to be. But it's hard with artists not to compare that artist against themselves. And in that, sometimes it lowers your score. It's an issue with the Beatles that I ran into when I was doing their catalog. It's like, yeah, this album's not nearly as good as this, but it's like, well, yeah, but if this was the only album they had, where would you write? It's hard to get there in your mind. So I'm not saying that's what Iain's doing, but I'm telling you all to tell you, I'm going to give this, I'm going back and forth between two grades. I'm going to give it a 7.75. I could do what Trey used to do. 7.75 to an 8 is really where I am, but I'll call it a 7.75. I could be bumped up to an 8 pretty easily. I think this is a really good album, and I think Iain thinks it's a really good album as well. But let me know your thoughts down below. Where do you rank this in their catalog, and what are your favorite songs on it? All right, thanks a lot to Iain for putting in the work on this. Until next time, guys, I will see you.